first, when did you become a member of the Occupy movement?
About 3.5 weeks ago, almost 4 weeks ago.
And what was it that got you to become involved?
Well, I'd been terminated from a job in June, and the corporation, in my view, had corruption in it. So I could relate to the need of getting corruption out of government.
No, I understand that. How would you describe the situation in the United States right now? You know, you don't have to confine it to just right now. You can go back 1776 till now, anywhere you want to talk about it there.
The situation, the economic situation,
or just the whole situation.
Well, I think like a lot of the hype around the president Obama is overplayed because he wasn't elected to end the practice of injustice here.
No,
he was just hired to refine the process, to make it look better. After 8 years of Bush.
Yeah.
And that one thing about Texas and why it's not suffering economically as bad as the rest of the country is that I believe George Bush found a lot of money into the state of Texas, into companies like Halliburton, and KBR. And if you just drive around town, you'll see where they've torn down mansions and they've started building castles.
I wasn't aware of that. That's
right. You drive into certain neighborhoods and it looks like university campuses, but it's just that kind of surplus injected into these companies that's allowing that excess to occur.
That's crazy. They're going to build castles here like medieval times, I guess, to show everybody how wealthy.
And to protect them, defend them from
the original reason for the castles, I guess. Especially, I guess, with the current climate, for sure. How would you describe the Occupy movement from your point of view?
It's a work in progress. It's has the potential of being a dream deferred. Coming from the Arab Spring, a lot of the goals of removing tyranny have been deflected here in the context of the West.
Yes, sir.
Because these corporations function basically as tyrants. And
if you look up the definition, they really do.
Right, and we're not approaching them like the people in North Africa approached it. Days ago, I was kind of elated still seeing masses of people, grouping together in places like Syria and Egypt, and Yemen. That's something that we've yet to, come to. Yeah.
But we got little bits and pieces of it. Like in Portland, I know on the first day they had 10,000. And then I've seen some big numbers in Wall Street. But I hope it just continues to grow, like in some of the other countries where they started doing this.
Well, it's like people expect martyrdom to continue, and Scott Olson was almost martyred. And that shouldn't be the case for people to get up and come and protest what's going on.
I agree. If there's enough reason for them to come for Scott, did you really have to wait for that? There's something every day happening to somebody.
Right.
How long will you be a member of the Occupy movement?
I'll always be part of the protest movement as long as there's injustice. Whether it's named Occupy or whatever is the next caption on that, I'll always protest them.
Out for equality and good, out for the good of all of us, whatever shape it takes.
Justice.
I agree. Are you a member of the Economic 99%?
What is that?
I believe it's this day and age is being qualified for making $250,000 or less than $250,000 a year. So that's a lot of us.
Yes.
Would you mind telling us anything that you'd like to tell us about what it's like for you, just what your life's like?
Oh, well, right now I'm pursuing a Whistleblowers Act against the corporation that I work for. I found safety.
You feel free. You can talk about it if you want to say who they were or anything. Feel
Well,
like.
I found safety violations and labor law violations, and I reported it. And for reporting it, I was terminated. At the beginning of the year, I received 4 write-ups after being employed for 11 years. I've never had that kind of...
Until you went ahead and reported some of the stuff.
Right. A person was crushed on a vehicle, and the company had got in the routine of replacing permanent workers with temporary workers to increase their bottom line. And they brought in a worker, and he was there for 2 months, and he wasn't trained properly, and I can validate that. And one evening, he was on a piece of equipment, and it malfunctioned and drove him straight back into the racks. Now, I didn't know exactly what had happened because I wasn't there on that shift, but when I did an affidavit for his attorney, I saw the video, and he's standing there.
They got a video of the whole thing.
Correct. It's a secure. The facility is a secure area, so there's cameras everywhere. But it took his attorney almost a year to get that film. But the guy is standing there, and the equipment drives him back into the equipment, and for 15 minutes, the workers are traumatized and scrambling trying to save this guy's life. And one guy who happened to be a militia member in Tanzania, he didn't act like the rest of the workers.
He didn't freeze up.
Right. He acted by getting a piece of forklift equipment and raising the forks and breaking the racks that the guy was
getting smashed between.
Right. But he was scrutinized by management for saving the guy's life.
They would rather he had just stood there
and let that person die. When the rack broke, the guy fell out and just spewed out blood. From the look of the film, he was dead. But my friend from Tanzania, he eventually got real depressed because he felt like he wasn't appreciated, and he gradually came in.
The opposite of appreciated, it sounds like.
Right. But he gradually got more and more occurrences for not wanting to be there. And he was terminated on that basis. I was terminated for disclosing confidential HR investigation. And the investigation was my own investigation.
So you disclosed it to yourself? They fired you for disclosing information to yourself?
I told it to another manager at the company. And it wasn't justified, but that was just what they used to get me out of the door. Texas workforce has already agreed that that was not a reason to terminate.
No, I don't think they can, not legally, they're not supposed to be able to fire you for that.
So now it's just pending the ending of an investigation by OSHA.
Well, I hope that starts to work out better for you. I hope there is some justice somewhere to be found in it.
Well, the thing about OSHA is that if the preponderance of the evidence is in my favor, I can demand my job back, the back pay. But the company feels like I'll institute a union if I get back.
Coming in with all this new power from them having to take you back and having all this stuff, it's gonna...
Correct, and you know, Texas is supposed to be a right-to-work state, and
and they don't like unions here.
Well, being an African American, I get offended when people use that terminology on me because my people were brought here regardless of a right to work.
No, they just brought to work.
They were brought here to work, and I find that kind of legislation, which was probably passed prior to voters' rights.
So like early 60s at the latest.
Yes. So we didn't participate in the right to vote act.
No, yeah, right to work.
The right to work act, you know.
No, yeah, no, I get. There's a lot of stuff there. We could take our whole interview just about this topic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on with the Occupy stuff, can you share one of your most favorite experiences that you've had since you've been in Occupy, or maybe one that you've seen something in the Occupy movement that's poignant in your mind, that something that you think is special?
That's special
to you, or something, you know, if there's anything that caught you, don't have to be something that you experienced here at Occupy Houston, but...
Well, on a weekly basis, the Black United Front comes to City Hall, it goes to the police station, Sheriff's Department, and protests police brutality, and the Occupy members have participated in those rallies. And even though a lot of the grassroots organizations in Houston are hesitant to actually represent here, it's inching that way.
They're slowly, these common goals are kind of inching up to each other where they're going to be.
My community actually needs a clear objective to act upon. Coming from our history, we just don't jump into anything without studying it, because we've had, bad experiences.
It wouldn't be the first time that somebody leaped before they looked in the wrong way, maybe.
Right.
Is there anything you'd like to say to people that are watching this that may not be aware of Occupy or what it is or what we're doing?
That may not be aware?
Or may have misconceptions, people that aren't informed about the movement.
Well, for Thanksgiving, thanks-taking.
I'm an Indian, so I appreciate that.
There was a lot of debate, watching CNN. Every time the word Occupy came up, there was the debates, started again. And my family was wanting to know, what is it all about? And, it's a wide variety of people. And
all walks of life. Yeah.
Basically, I could just tell them, like I told you, that it was a work in progress. And there's still things to be, agendas to be put in stone. And
I guess the kind of my end capping question I'm asking everybody today is there anything you would like to say to your fellow Occupy movement members all across Texas and the rest of the country and world?
Well, they should.
Another activist too. I know you don't think just the Occupy movement, that there's a lot of groups, any people that are working for change.
Right. I always remember that the only reason why we were born is to produce justice.
I like that. That's the best answer I've got in a long time. Thank you very much, Delbert.
All right, man.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask you? Do you want to talk about anything else?
No.
Thank you. That was really good.
All right. All right now.